January 2013, downtown LA. A young woman mysteriously vanishes without a trace. Police release security footage of her being pursued by an unknown entity in an elevator. Her body is discovered just a couple weeks later in the water tower at the Cecil Hotel. This is the mysterious disappearance of Elisa Lam.
Wrong floor. Whoops. Sorry about that. That's not Audible, is it? Speaking of Audible, Audible is a fantastic place that you can listen to thousands of books at your convenience. Johnny and I use Audible as research for these very lo-fi docs. Please follow the link in the description to sign up for a free 30-day trial of Audible. They go a long way to help us on the channel. Well, everyone, Johnny and I are heading to downtown LA for, how many times is this now? 5 times now? So we're heading down there for yet another lo-fi story. This is the most recent case story we've ever covered yet. We're doing the case of Elisa Lam, who some of you, especially if you're younger, are more than well acquainted with. The case is only a little over 12 years since it took place, but yeah, it's really, at the time especially, it became this internet sensation, mostly because of the security footage that was released by the police at the time in an attempt to locate and find out and get any information about what happened, where she disappeared to. When this case happened, we were actually not far from it. We used to live close to downtown, and Johnny and I remember hearing about the case at the time, and it was like this thing that a lot of people were talking about. It was just a social thing to discuss, like, hey, did you hear about the case and all that, and any updates? And I certainly remember that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I'm glad the rain stopped, although it would have been kind of fun to be doing all this story in the rain and shit. So we're going to go to the Cecil because it involves the Cecil Hotel. It was rebranded, even at that time, it was called the Stay on Main, and they had new ownership and they were just rebranding the hotel. And at the time, it was a hotel. It's since now, in the years since the Elisa Lam case, it has since become no longer a hotel open to the public. It's become an actual place for low-cost housing, so it's only tenant-based now. So we're going to try our hardest that when we get down there to see if we can go inside and just at least go to the lobby. We'll probably, most assuredly be told no, and that's okay. We're still going to be in the area, and of course, this is my dad. Yep. My dad always, without fail, calls when I'm filming. I'm gonna answer it just for shits. Hey, Dad, we're actually filming right now. You're in the middle of a take.
Nice. Put me in there.
I hope and pray that you guys all have a father like mine. We're gonna go to a few locations downtown, a couple, and we're just gonna retrace her steps, her last known locations on the day that she disappeared, and we're gonna try to just piece that puzzle back together. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting little sojourn. That's a word. Do you use that word?
No.
Sojourn, for those of you etymologists out there, sojourn is a French word, and it means I'm full of shit. No, it means like journey. Sojourn, sojourner. I think I could be completely mistaken. Leave this all in because I can't wait for people to be like, eat it. No, that's wrong. Okay, so we are now finally out of the car, if that wasn't already apparent, and we're going to be walking, and we are walking, towards the last known physical sighting of Elisa Lam. This was on January 31st, 2013, the last day she was seen. She was at this very bookstore earlier in the day, and we're going to go inside the bookstore and just sort of peruse and then talk about how it, connects with a little more details to the case itself, but that's where we're headed. All right, so we're here at the last bookstore. It's directly behind me. Johnny and I are gonna go inside now, peruse, look around, see what we can get, see what the sights and sounds are, and see how long it takes for them to kick us out. Let's go look. I looked both ways. We're inside. All right, so we're in the last bookstore. This was the last known location of Elisa Lam. She disappeared on January 31st, 2013. The last known location she was physically seen at was here at the last bookstore. And so, yeah, she perused these very halls looking for gifts for her family and friends. And the manager on that day, when questioned by police, said that, yes, we did see her here. She was very friendly, very jovial. And yeah, so this was the last place she was physically seen. We're going to head now over to the Cecil Hotel, and we're going to attempt to go inside. No promises on that. And see what we can capture inside there, if anything at all. So let's head over there. The Cecil Hotel is really close to the last bookstore. It's only about 2 city blocks, which takes about 5 or so minutes to get there. So we're headed there now. Per our research, the Cecil Hotel is no longer open to the public. It is now a low-cost housing apartment building. So I doubt that they'll let us go inside, but we're gonna try our damnedest. So it's this way. All right, we're gonna try to go inside. Let's see what happens. I can't even see anything. Hey, boss, I'm sorry to bother you. So I'm filming a documentary about Elisa Lam. Well, we tried. Very nice man, by the way. All right, so here we are at the Hotel Cecil, finally, in downtown LA, directly behind me. A place that I actually have driven past so many times and never realized it was right there. So on January 26th or so, Elisa Lam checked into this very hotel behind me in January of 2013. She was placed in a communal room that she shared with roommates, and a couple days passed. And during those first couple days, she had been exhibiting what was described by the hotel staff and the roommates certainly as odd behavior. She was locking the door to the room, denying entry to the other roommates of that room, and also the manager was also fielding complaints from those roommates. So after a couple days of that, she was placed in her own room, I believe on the 5th floor of this hotel, in a room to herself. So after a couple days after check-in, and in that instance, around January 30th, she actually went to a taping of Conan. Yes, that's right, Conan O'Brien. So she was removed from that venue because she was displaying odd behavior and apparently was acting erratic, so she was removed by security. So about a day or so later, this would be January the 31st, the last day she was seen by anyone. Most notably, as we already shown you guys, was at the last bookstore about 2 blocks from here. She was physically seen by the manager there. But so that's the day she disappeared. Her family had been checking in with her regularly, pretty much daily. And the very next day, the 1st of February, they were not able to get a hold of her. So they contacted the local authorities and thus began the investigation into her disappearance. So after a couple days into February, they put up flyers in the area looking for her, missing notices with her face on it. Nothing came of it. They weren't able to locate her. They obviously retraced her steps. They brought in tracker dogs, cadaver dogs. They searched the entire hotel, the basement, the lobby. They even went to the roof, and they were not able to locate her. So February 14th, they released security footage to the public in an attempt to try to see if they could locate her. And the footage itself, especially at that time, without knowing where she was, because at the time it was still a disappearance, they had no idea what had happened to her. The footage itself, captured by the elevator in the Cecil Hotel, was about 2 or so minutes of footage of Elisa Lam by herself going into the elevator and seemingly looking disorientated and also looking like she was being pursued. She would get into the elevator, she pressed all the buttons on the elevator, and then would be peering out of the elevator looking for someone that we don't know, especially at that time, if there was anyone there or not. She proceeded to do that for about a couple minutes, displaying also rather kind of strange physical movements with her hands, which at the time became a massive internet, it just blew up. It became viral back in 2013. It was almost impossible not to know of its existence. That video was perpetuated on every single site that you can think of, obviously YouTube being one of them. And it just spawned just a gigantic slew of internet sleuths that were trying to pinpoint what exactly this footage showcased. It ranged from, oh, she was being tracked by someone, she was being pursued, it was a paranormal entity that was pursuing her, she was possessed, all of that. To the more mundane, like she was just, she was fine, she was disorientated. No one was sure. You're good, Aaron. On and around this time, shortly, like about a week or so before the actual security cam of the footage in the elevator was released by police, guests at the hotel had been complaining about low water pressure in their hotel rooms and also a rather bitter taste and off-color look to the tap water in the hotel rooms. So kind of jumping now to the released video by police of the elevator, about a week or so after this, a maintenance worker, after enough complaints by guests at the hotel about the tap water, they ventured to the roof, which has, I think, 3 to 4 cisterns, about 1,000 gallons that they can hold each. Large drums of water to hold for tap water for the hotel. And the maintenance worker opened, without having to open the hatch was already open. He climbed the ladder to the hatch, and as he peered down into the actual cistern itself, there, just floating at the top of the water, was Elisa Lam's body, completely naked, stripped of all clothing. And he immediately reported it to hotel staff, and they promptly contacted authorities. One of the points of contention during the Elisa Lam investigation is a very specific detail, but added so much mystery and attraction to internet sleuths and other people that just were attracted to the case. And it was concerning the actual hatch of the cistern that her body was found in. So it was propagated at the time heavily, and still to this day, that the hatch itself that was closed and locked, and that her body was found with that hatch closed and locked. So that added to this massive mystery as to how was Elisa Lam able to get inside of that water tower and then be able to lock it by herself, which added to this supported theory, at the time at least, that it was someone else had done it to her. Someone else had thrown her body inside and then locked it after her and then left her to, her unfortunate demise. The actual reality of it is a little more simpler, and it's actually less mysterious, is that the hatch itself was actually open. And it was reported by maintenance staff that the hatch was open quite frequently, actually, on multiple of the cisterns. Why that's the case, who knows? But the hatch itself was actually found open the day that her body was found by the maintenance worker who found her body. So it just makes sense that she was able to climb the ladder to the actual water tower, get inside the water tower itself, and then find herself seemingly trapped inside the water tower. So this just, again, the finding of her body in places that they already had looked. They didn't look in the cisterns before, but they were on the roof by police, and they had been looking for weeks at this point, but only to discover her body in the very location that they'd already looked. Just, again, caused a groundswell of just the increased amount of not only internet sleuths prophesizing what they had thought had happened, but just stringing together these unsupported claims about what could have happened. How did she end up there? But I'll just give you the straight facts so that we can kind of put to bed all of the things that took place. So Elisa Lam, at least by her family, had reported that she had been experiencing bipolar disorder for a large part of her life. And as a result, she took medications, a whole slew of them. So when she was off of them, which she apparently did frequently by her family, she would experience hallucinations that would cause her to react in odd ways and feel that she was being pursued by someone and also being fearful and wanting to hide. So when you look at the security cam footage and with that tethered, it sort of starts to make sense about why she was exhibiting that kind of behavior. So authorities have maintained the story that on that very day she had been experiencing a manic episode due to her bipolar disorder, and in the security cam footage of the elevator, she had been showing what many people that study this, medical professionals, had disclosed as extreme bipolar disorder by hallucination. So it was reported, although it's not substantiated by any really hardcore evidence, that after exiting the elevator, she made her way to a fire escape and was able to gain access to the roof, which only would have been accessible through a roof door, which does have a security camera and also an alarm that had been opened. The alarm would have gone off, but no alarm went off that day. So she gained access to the hotel roof, and then, seeing the cisterns, was able to climb the ladder and then get inside to try to hide from this entity that she was hallucinatingly seeing that was either chasing her or whatnot. And the reason why her clothes were stripped from her body, crime scene investigators reported that she removed her clothing in an attempt to maintain her buoyancy and not sink to the bottom of the actual cistern. And as the water depleted over the days that she was in there, she was unable to actually regain footing enough to get to the hatch that she had climbed inside. And as a result, after days of sitting in that just well of water, she unfortunately succumbed to drowning, which was the official given cause of death for Elisa Lam, was drowning caused by bipolar disorder / hallucinations. But that hasn't stopped, despite all that evidence, that has not stopped internet sleuths since that very day from saying that that is not exactly what happened. There's something more to the story. There's a bunch of things left out, and they claim in the police reports that point to something else malicious happening, whether it be paranormal, whether it be someone was a part of the hotel who had done something to cover up a crime that they had committed. And anyway, it runs the gamut. But to sort of put that all to bed, there's nothing to indicate that Elisa Lam succumbed to anything else other than hallucinations brought on by her bipolar disorder. And it also doesn't help that this hotel has had, probably since its inception, which is I think back in the 1920s, a rather checkered history, if I may be so honest. There's been suicides that have just, since the decades it opened, there's been a myriad of suicides, murders, unexplained deaths, and also rather famously, or I should say infamously, back in the 1980s into the early 90s, one of the most famous serial killers in American history, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, famously stayed at this hotel whilst committing his crimes in the LA area. And another serial killer in the early 90s, to sort of replicate Richard Ramirez's crimes, also stayed at this very hotel. So this hotel has a history to it that is rather sordid, to say the least. And it just adds to the Elisa Lam mystery that there's something else going on here. And we actually just spoke to a very nice local woman. You stayed in this hotel?
No, I don't stay with no one there before, but I drank and I had an experience there.
Oh, okay.
I came back down, I was still lost. You get lost in there.
Oh, really? It's dangerous out there, especially on the internet. There's scammers, there's cookies that track your every movement, sending you unsolicited ads you don't want. Your identity can be stolen. That's why Johnny and I use NordVPN. NordVPN provides to you tools that help you feel safe and secure while you're on the internet, and also protects your identity from any scammers out there trying to steal your stuff. So please, using the affiliate links in the description of this video below, sign up for both NordVPN and NordPass and stay secure out there. Now back to the video. Paranormal stuff like ghosts?
Yes, it is very paranormal. And
Okay.
I'm telling you the truth. And you may think that I'm crazy, but I'm
No, not at all.
I'm telling you the truth. Something was talking to us, but it's very paranormal activity going on.
Okay,
there.
okay.
I was just sitting outside in the truck. My truck is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Our truck over there.
Mm-hmm.
We seen something walking up,
Mm-hmm.
and it just disappeared. It's very paranormal. It's
Okay.
real.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
A lot of people have been talking about that.
some
Yeah.
people in there they saying that their ears are ringing.
Mm.
They're saying that stuff is attacking them in their sleep. It's just a lot of stuff going on in that building.
Okay. So again, so much here, and hopefully one day Johnny and myself can get inside and actually see for ourselves what this hotel has, what it actually is. But for the moment, we're just going to be outside of it. But as it relates to Elisa Lam, there's just so much here that, again, that has just, because of that video mostly of the elevator, has just spawned so much that people will maintain those stories, even though there's evidence that refutes it almost entirely. But that's the Cecil Hotel, and I have no doubts that we'll be here again covering yet another story, because it has, again, as I just indicated, so many connections to so many other famous, infamous, mysterious cases in American history. All right, guys, so that's the Elisa Lam case. In closing, Johnny and I really wanted to just touch on just the importance and sort of the acknowledgement of mental health and to take it seriously. Because as it relates to this case, Elisa Lam displayed bipolar disorder, and it indirectly caused her own death. And we wanted to make sure that we not only acknowledge that, but also just in general acknowledge that mental health is something to be taken seriously. And we certainly wanted to make sure we touched on that to show respect for both the victim, in this case Elisa, and also her family. So we just thought it was important to mention that in closing. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, and also please tell us any other interesting or mysterious stories you'd like us to cover on Lo-Fi here. We would like to take a look at that. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Oh, that's a spider.